For this video, I wanted to talk with you about ways of measuring angles in trigonometry. The first most common unit of measure is the degree, and the degree actually measures the angle of opening. So it's talking about what portion of a circle is actually open inside of the angle itself. So the symbol for this is a little circle that's written above the angle as a superscript. And 360 degrees represents one full rotation, so it's basically one circle. So degrees is your angle opening. The radian is talking about the arc length that is inscribed inside of the angle for a given radius. So 1 radian measures the arc length. So 1 radian means that the arc length is equal to the actual radius of the circle. If you do one full rotation of a ray, that is equal to 2 pi radians, which just comes from the circumference of the circle. I'm not going to be able to fit that in there. Okay, so one full rotation just means that you went completely around the circle and you rotated 2 pi radians. There is not an actual symbol that we use, we just say radians. Your calculator can be programmed to be in degrees or radians. The default is degrees, so you do want to check when you're working in trigonometry that you are in the correct measurement. If you are dealing with degrees, you want your calculator set to degrees, and if you are in radians, you want your calculator set to radians. I will address that in other videos. Okay, so a couple of things. 360 degrees is equal to 2 pi radians, so 360 degrees means we went around the circle entirely. The same thing with 2 pi radians. So the conversion that we use is the 180 degrees is equal to pi radians. So half a circle is equal to pi times the radians. So what we can do to convert from degrees to radians, we are going to multiply the degrees by pi divided by 180. Most of the time we leave it as a fraction answer. Sometimes they will want the answer as a decimal, but it's always best to leave it as a fraction in radians. Radians to degrees, you are going to multiply the radians by 180 divided by pi. And so I'm going to show you guys a couple of examples of how to convert. Okay, so the first one that we're going to do is we're going to go from degrees to radians. So we have 60 degrees. So to do this, all we would have to do is 60 times pi over 180. And with this, we can easily see that the tens would cancel out. The degrees would also cancel out, so we get rid of that symbol. And the 6 over 18 reduces to 1/3, so we would say that this is pi over 3 radians. Okay, so a 60 degree opening is equivalent to a pi over 3 radians for the arc length. 270 degrees, if we multiply this out, we would do 270 by pi over 180. And again, if we simplify this, the easiest way to do it is just to reduce. The zeros cancel out, and the 27 is divisible by 9 3 times. 18 is divisible by 9 2 times, so we would end up with 3 pi over 2 radians. Okay. To convert from radians to degrees, we just multiply by the reciprocal of what we just multiplied by. So instead of doing pi over 180, we want our pi's to cancel out, so the pi would be in the denominator. So I would do pi over 4 times 180 degrees over pi. And then this way, my pi's would cancel out, and I would just have 180 degrees divided by 4, which is 45 degrees. And most of the time, we would express this as a decimal approximation if it doesn't go in evenly rather than a fraction. Okay, and then the last one that I want to do is the 2 pi over 3. So with this one, we would do 2 pi over 3 times 180 degrees over pi. And then we would simplify by eliminating the pi's. And You can either do 2 times 180 first and then divide by 3, or it may be easier to say that 180 divided by 3 is 60, and so 2 times 60 gives me 120 degrees. So 2 pi over 3 radians is equal to 120 degrees. As always, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, please let me know. If there are additional topics you need me to cover, please let me know that as well.